Hejsan alla! That means hello everyone in Swedish. My name is Miss Ingrid and I work at the American Swedish Institute in Minneapolis. I am so excited to be here with you today. We are going to do 3 wonderful activities. First, we are going to read a story together. Next, we are going to learn how to do a craft together. And lastly, we are going to sing and dance along to a song that I'm going to teach you. Are you ready? Let's get started first with our story. Today, we are going to read Counting Sweden, Räkna med Sverige by Linda Librand. Counting Sweden. 1. En midsommarstånd. 1 midsummer pole. On Midsummer's Eve, we sing and dance to a song called Little Frogs and dance around the midsummer pole. Here's the midsummer pole. Isn't it beautiful? Look at all the different colors and flowers. I think that would be really fun to dance around. What about you? 2. Två vikingar. 2 Vikings. It's fun to dress up and play Vikings. Can you see all the things these children are wearing to play Vikings? Helmets and shields, and they have a bow and arrow and belts and lawn tunics that are like a lawn shirt. I think they're having a lot of fun, don't you? 3. Tre kronor. 3 crowns. The 3 crowns is one of Sweden's best known national symbols. Here are the 3 crowns. 4. Fyra påskkärringar. 4 Easter witches. What do you think an Easter witch is? Let's find out. We dress up as Easter witches on Easter Eve. In Sweden, children dress up on Easter Eve, usually as witches. This is similar to here in America, in Minnesota, when we dress up on Halloween. I think these witches are friendly witches though, don't you? To dress up, children often paint rosy red cheeks and put freckles on their faces. And they wear maybe a handkerchief on their head and an apron and a dress. But I don't think they can fly around like in this picture. 5. Fem älgor. 5 moose. The big moose is Sweden's national animal. It's often called the king of the forest. Should we count all the älgar or moose? Let's count in English first, then in Swedish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's try in Swedish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great job. 6. Sex gårdstomter. 6 garden gnomes. Let's see what these garden gnomes look like. The tiny farm gnomes help farmers look after their farms. They love porridge. Look at the garden gnomes, tomtar. They have long red hats and long white beards. They look like they're having fun, don't they? 7. Sjöstugar. 7 cottages. Swedish cottages are often painted a special color called falu red. Isn't this a pretty red? Look at all the cottages. And there is a little tomtar right there waving hi. 8. Åtta flaggar. 8 flags. Let's see what the Swedish flag looks like. The Swedish flag is blue and yellow. We celebrate the Swedish flag and our National Day on the 6th of June. Here are all the flags. Aren't they pretty? 9. Nio dollarhästar. 9 doll horses. Let's find out what a doll horse is. The doll horse is one of the most loved symbols of Sweden. They are carved from wood and painted by hand. Here they are. The red is similar to the red in the cottages, isn't it? Look at all the beautiful painting details on these doll horses. Aren't they interesting? 10. Tio köttbullar. 10 meatballs. Yum. We love meatballs with mashed potatoes, gravy, and lingonberry jam. Does anyone know what lingonberry jam is? Lingonberries are a special berry that grows in Sweden that are red and juicy and kind of tart at the same time. They're really good with köttbullar or meatballs and mashed potatoes. It's time for a coffee break. How many cinnamon rolls has the rabbit baked? In Sweden, people take a coffee break called fika every afternoon, and they usually have delicious treats to go along with it. Let's read about some of the treats they have. Here's kanelbulle or cinnamon rolls, dammsugare, punch roll. Here's the rabbit. Let's look on the next page and see how many kanelbulle the rabbit has baked. One, two more kanelbulle. He also made some princess torta, princess cake, and pepparkakor, which are gingerbread. They're cut out in fun shapes, see? And then here's kaffe or coffee, which is a very important part of fika. Look at all these tasty treats. Is it making you hungry? Here's our next page. We celebrate Lucia on the 13th of December with saffron buns and singing. How many saffron buns can you find? Here is Lucia. In Swedish families, usually the oldest girl dresses up in a long white dress with a red sash and wears a crown with candles and leaves. And she brings her parents Lucia buns and coffee on early morning on December 13th. Here are all the saffron buns. Let's count how many there are on this page. 1, 2, 3. I bet there are more on the next page. Let's check. Here they are, saffron buns or Lucia cut. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here's Stjärnegosse, the star boy. That's Lucia's helper. In August, it's time for a crayfish party. How many crayfish can you find? Here's a krofte crayfish and a dalahest, a dollarhorse. Crayfish are kind of like small lobsters. Let's count how many we can find on this page. 1, 2. Should we try in Swedish? En, två. Let's look at how many there are on the next page. Should we count them? 1, 2, 3, or in Swedish, en, två, tre. And here's a flagga or flag. These peppermint candy canes come from the Swedish town of Grona. Their Swedish name is polkagris, which literally translates as polka pig. Isn't that a fun name? Here they are, polkagris. The mischievous trolls live in caves hidden deep in the forest, according to old Swedish folk tales. How many candy canes have they found? Here's a troll. How many has he found on this page? Let's see. 1, 2, and 2. Let's look on the next page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should we count them in Swedish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 polka gris or candy canes. Thank you so much for reading the story with me. Now you know how to count to 10 in Swedish too. You're so smart. Let's get started with our next activity. Our next activity is going to be making these wonderful woven heart baskets. And my friends, these are very important in Scandinavia. They probably originated in Denmark, and they were used to decorate people's Christmas trees. They would make them and fill them with candy or goodies. As you can see, it makes a little basket like that. And actually, they probably originated from the author Hans Christian Andersen, who is a very famous Danish author who wrote a bunch of wonderful fairy tales. And my friends, we have a special program this year for ASI, the American Swedish Institute. So we are asking the community to make a heart ornament and then send it to the American Swedish Institute, and we are going to display them all in our lobby. So we want to fill our lobby with all these wonderful hearts because we're finally going to be open after having been closed for such a long time. And so my friends, when you make these, we would love if you would make one for yourself, one for your house as a decoration, and then make a second one and send it to the American Swedish Institute at this information that's on your screen, and we will display them in our lobby throughout our Christmas season. Next, we are going to make Swedish woven heart baskets that look like this. For this craft, you'll need a couple of things. The Swedish heart basket template that looks like this, 2 different sheets of colored paper. I used blue and white. You could also use a piece of paper from a book or anything, but make sure the paper is a little bit sturdy. Newspaper won't work quite as well like this. But anything you have around your house, you will need a scissors, you will need a pencil, and you will need either some glue or tape or anything that's an adhesive. So what you're going to do first is cut out your template, which I've already done. Here's my template. And then after I cut it out, I actually bent it in half, matched up the ends, and then cut the lines of the template. That makes it easier when I'm tracing my template onto my paper. And then you're gonna go ahead and trace your template onto your paper, which I already did. So I lined it up and traced it. And then the reason I cut the lines in the middle of my template is because it makes it easier to trace. So I went ahead and did that. And then you're gonna trace it onto both sheets of paper. So each piece of paper has this outline on it. And then you're gonna go ahead and cut out your template on the lines. And try to stay as close to the lines as you can. But again, if it's not perfect, that is totally fine. It will still turn out great. Remember, there's no wrong way to do a craft. And the cool thing about these Swedish heart baskets is they're really common in Sweden. People love to make them. They're really common around Christmas time especially. People will make them and hang them on their tree with treats or candy inside, which is really fun. But you can make them any time of year. Oftentimes they're red and white, but you can do any color. I'm using blue and white because blue is my favorite color. Once I've cut out my template, I'm actually going to fold it in half so my ends match up like this. And then I'm actually gonna cut my lines that I drew. So just take your scissors and go ahead and cut those lines from the bottom where it's folded all the way to where your pencil mark ends. And that way it'll be easy to weave our baskets. And so when you're done, it should look a little bit like an octopus. But when you unfold it, it's still all one piece. The bottoms aren't cut. And so once you do that to both pieces, you'll have your 2 sides of your heart like this, and we can start weaving. So I'm gonna have my white side over here, my blue over here. I'm gonna start weaving my heart. So first, I'm gonna take my white piece and slide it over my blue piece right here. So I'm taking the top pieces of each one and sliding it over like this. So just like this. And now I want there to be checkered squares. So for my next section, I'm going to actually put my white piece inside my blue piece. So it looks like this. So I have white, blue. So for the next one, you can probably guess, I want it to be alternating. So I'm going to weave my blue piece inside my white piece. So I have white, blue, white, and then you can probably guess the last one, once again, will be inside. So we have white, blue, white, blue. And there's my first line. So now we're going to go ahead and do our next section. So we want it to be alternating. So because on the first one right here, we had white on top, the next one we're gonna have blue on top. So I'm gonna take my first piece again and put it under this time, like this. So you can kind of see it's coming together. And so because I went under that time, and to keep it a little bit more neat, it can be kind of hard to finagle. You can kind of push it down a little bit, see a little bit more room. So for this next one, I want the white to go over. So I'm gonna take my blue piece and go inside the white piece. And the reason it's easier to use kind of stiffer paper is you wanna bend them a little bit sometimes to get them to go through, and that can be harder if your paper is a little bit more flimsy. So see how I'm kind of bending through and then pulling through. So I have my alternating there. And then next, I have white on top here, right? So I want blue on top. So I'm gonna pull through with my blue. There we go. And now lastly, I want white on top, right? So that's an easy end. I can just weave through like that. I have my blue. So now we have 2 sections done, like this. Then we're gonna keep going. So we had blue on top here, right, for our second row. So for our third row, we want white on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my blue section and the white's gonna go over it. It's gonna be a little bit finicky, but that's okay. So we have white there, yeah? Now we want blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and weave my white underneath like this. And so we have blue here. What do you think we want next? White. So I'm gonna weave our white through right here. Now we have white. And we want blue again. So this one might be a little bit tricky to get in. I'm gonna weave my white in like this. Here we go, we're almost done. So for our last row, we want blue again. This one might be a little tricky to get in. So you can see here, I'm gonna take my last blue strip and get it through the top. Oh, excuse me. We want the white to go inside the blue. So we're gonna weave it through. And there we have our first row totally completed. And so for our second part of the last row, we want a blue stitch. So we're going to weave our white in like this. There we go. And then we want blue, so the white is gonna go inside here. Here we go. And the final one, probably guess the blue will go inside the white. Ooh, it can be tricky to get in. Just like that. And then you have your heart basket. Looks just like this. If you want to add a handle, which I usually like to do so I can hang it on things, I'm gonna take leftover paper. I want a blue handle, so I'm gonna take my blue scratch paper that's left over and just go ahead and cut out a strip that's about as long as my hand. It doesn't have to be perfect. however long you think you want it. So I've got my strip, but I want it as long as my hand. I'm going to use tape and tape it on the inside. So I'm going to put tape on the top of each section, just a little bit of tape that I've rolled like this. And then put it on top of my handle at the very ends, like so. See my tape? And then take the tape and just tape it on the very inside, like this. And then I have my basket. I'm ready to put it somewhere. Put it on a tree, hang it in your room on a doorknob, and you can put treats inside. And those are Swedish woven hang baskets. For our last activity, we're all going to sing and dance to a song. So if you remember in our book, we read about the tomtar, these fun fellows. We are going to learn a song about them. And I actually have a tomtar friend with me who is going to go ahead and help me sing this tune. So my friends, tomtar are mischievous little fellows who live on farms and help the farmer protect all their sheep and goats and pigs and ducks from anything that could hurt them, like a fox or a wolf. And the tomtar are kind of mischievous and they sneak around really sneakily. So this song is called Midnight Rodar, and it's usually sung during Christmas. And it's about the tomtar being really quiet and sneaking around. And I'm going to play this tune for you on my nyckelharpa, which is this funny instrument I'm holding. The nyckelharpa is actually the national instrument of Sweden. And it's really cool because it's kind of like a mix between a violin and a guitar and a piano all in one. So I play it with a bow, just like a violin, but I press these keys similar to a piano, and I hold it like you would hold a guitar. So when I pull my bow across the string, sound comes out just like a violin, and when I press the keys, I can change the note. So the tune that we're going to all sing and dance together is called Midnight Rodar, and it's about the tomte sneaking around. And so I'm going to sing it all the way through, and I'm going to sing the first verse, then the chorus, then the second verse, then the chorus again. And my friends, the chorus is really easy, and I think you could all learn it. And it goes like this. Tip top, tip top, tippa tippa tip top, tip, tip, top. And you can imagine all the tomtes sneaking around, tiptoeing around. So when I play the chorus, I want you to get up and do your best sneaking around. Sneak around your living room or anywhere in your house and do your best sneaking, just like our tomte would. So if he was sneaking, think he would just come up like this and sneak around very quietly. Sneaking, sneaking so quiet so no humans could hear him being so sneaky. He's really sneaky though, he's kind of shy, he's gonna hide again. So remember, when I play and sing, tip top, tip top, tippa tippa tip top, tip, tip, top, you are going to do your best sneaking around. Are you ready? I'm going to sing the first verse, then I'll play the tip-top chorus, then I'll sing the second verse, and then I'll do the tip-top chorus again. Are you ready? Midnight Rodar, tis alla husen, tis husen, alla sova, släcker alla ljusen, alla ljusen, tip-top, tip-top, tippa tippa tip-top, tip. Säg då klippa tomten på varna och varna. Lyssna, speja, tomten på tårna och på tårna. Tipp-topp, tipp-topp, tippa tippa tipp-topp, tip-tip-top. Did you tiptoe around just like our sneaky tomte? I I bet he was tiptoeing around. I didn't even see him. He was so sneaky. My friends, we're gonna do it one more time. And remember, when I sing, tip top, tippy tip top, tip top. I want you to do your sneakiest sneaking around. Okay, are you ready? Midnight broder, tills du alla husen, tills de husen. Alla sover, släck alla ljusen, alla ljusen. Tipp topp, tippy tipp topp, tipp topp. Säg då klippa, tomte upp på varna, upp på varna. Lyssna, speja, tomte upp på tårna, upp på tårna. Tipp topp, tippy tipp topp, tipp topp. Tipp topp, tippy tipp topp, tipp topp. Did you sneak around? I bet no one could even see you. You were so sneaky. Well, my friends, those were our 3 activities. Thank you so much for singing and doing a craft and reading with me. I had a great time. I think my tomte friend had a great time too. He's a little shy though, and he's a little sneaky. So my friends, I'm going to say goodbye. And in Swedish, to say goodbye, you say hej då. So we can all together say hej då.